Hey guys, it's Maria with Meet Me at Zero. Welcome back. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing to my YouTube channel, for the input in regards to the topics of conversation, for the conversations that we have that allow me to think what it is I want to talk to you about. And so tough love is true love. And I just want to say that for the most part, when we think about this, we think about kids that are in jail or prison, or kids that are constantly getting in trouble with the law. We think about kids that are addicted to drugs, and we will say something like, cut them off. Um, you know, you're not helping them out. But we're not looking at the rest of the populace of what we've done to this next generation. So when I hear people make comments about millennials, I can say that for much of the progress made in the workplace in regards to benefit and perks, it comes from the millennials, and they have it right. And in regards to the comments that millennials are entitled, I must say that that is our fault that they are this way. But what's even more interesting is that the same people that are making the comments are raising younger kids than the millennials, and they're going to be much worse than the millennials are when it comes to coping mechanisms, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, having a plan, understanding sacrifice, work ethic, because we give them everything and we're not sharing our story and how we got here. We're also trying to patch and make their life so easy that they have no idea what a struggle looks like. Much of who we become or how great we become has to do with how hard we've had to push to appreciate where we're at. And so, tough love is true love. For my parents, it looks more like they couldn't really provide us with much because they're both limited in education, because we grew up in a certain society, a certain belief. And so growing up in Puerto Rico, being one of 10 children, it was very limited. We went to school and we went to church. We have a solid foundation in regards to faith and work ethic, but we never went to the movies. We never went on vacation. We never went to a restaurant. I had Adidas sneakers because I had to work to earn those. I had two siblings that usually won a scholarship grant, and they got to pick sneakers. For the rest of us, it was whatever was picked for us, whatever was cooked, we ate. We had no voice in regards to, what to eat. I actually didn't get my hair done. When I say done, I just mean relax. I wasn't allowed to cut my hair, get my eyebrows plucked, shave, none of that. And I got my hair done. It was almost a senior in high school because my mom used to make the best uniforms for the school system, and I would iron the pleats. And so that was kind of like a trade-off. She would take me to get my hair relaxed every so often. So with that said, as a child, as a young person, I knew that I was going to get off the nest. I was going to fly off the nest early because I had ambition, because I knew there was more, because there's so much that I wanted to thrive. And so I pulled from within, and so did my siblings. And I was the first one to leave the nest. I'm the second oldest. And in the next few months, God willing, all of us will be in the same state. And one by one, all my siblings have moved here, and most of them have lived with me. And so I share that to say that when it comes to now our kids, we raised them different with different opportunities, and we wanted to create a different environment. We wanted to foster growth and experiences in some ways. And sadly, with that, I don't think that they quite appreciate or understand the sacrifices made, or how much work it really takes to get things done. And so it is important that as parents, we allow God to do what He does best. and we do help our children and we want to give them the best opportunity. We cannot control the future. We cannot control the decisions that our kids make. And I believe that for me personally, I wish the mistakes I made later in life, I'd made them earlier in life, but I didn't have the opportunity to do them early in life because my life was so confined and restricted that it's taken me years to really make these mistakes and really learn my lessons, because you don't learn your lessons through what other people necessarily tell you. Not that I have a whole lot of advice, that I had a lot of advice or a lot of mentoring in growing up. Everything was trial and error for me. But when it comes to our kids, it's really allowing them to make the mistakes and as hard as they can hit, to allow them to stick, because a lot of times they'll make a mistake, we'll help them out, and 3 4 months down the line they're back to the same mistake again, coming for us to help them, to bail them out, to figure out their life, and they haven't really learned anything. In the meantime, they hijack our relationship emotionally. We are exhausted, we have no money, we're stressed out over things we shouldn't be stressed out because we already raised them. And so we get to the point we don't even like them, we want to punch them in the throat. We look at them and we don't even recognize who they are as people, and we still love them. And there's a time that we really have to stop breastfeeding and we have to cut the cord, and letting go, it is hard. It is one of the hardest things to do in life, period, is allowing God to handle the situation. It's allowing them the wings to fly off the nest, and whether they land safe or not, they're going to make it at some point, and they're going to learn the lesson. They're going to appreciate the journey. And so sometimes, if you have the means to help your kids, it's on you. And I'm not telling anybody how to raise your children. I'm talking to the people that have tried all they can, and your child could do better and they're not where they're supposed to be. I'm talking to the people that have prayed. Trust in the power of purpose and intention. Trust that God has a bigger plan set for your child, that you've done everything you could and you've poured into your child, and now it's time for them to take what you've taught them and to put it to practice. And they won't do that until we step aside and allow them to make the mistakes and figure their life out. We still love them unconditionally. We're still there for them, but we allow that space, because what's happening is we have these adults. And when I talk about adults, I'm talking about, we have kids from, let me go with 20 to 30 years old, that are completely lost in regards to what real bills look like. Car payment, taxes, responsibility. You don't get to party if you have children and you have to pay rent. You don't get to travel if you have other things in mind. Saving for something, because they automatically look at a parent and say, well, they can do this for me, or they can pick that for me. As for me, my parents didn't buy me no car. My parents didn't buy me a cell phone. Those were things I had to make a way for myself. There's opportunities that you have to create for yourself. And so that kind of growth is not going to occur in our children until we learn to say no, even with great pain in our heart. And when you parent adult children, it is painful. You will cry more than probably you've ever cried in your life. For some people, it's great that you're friends with your children. I'm sure that it happens in a lifetime at some point. But when you're a parent, there's a time that it's just, there's just a space that is allowed for them to do their own thing, to make their mistakes, and for you to just be on the sideline. And I talked about this on one of my videos, that we just go from coaches to fan. And so when tough love is true love, when you say no, I've had enough, when we put our foot down, and we establish that we've had enough, when we are honest and tell them that we can see greatness in them and they're not exercising, or they're not giving it their full potential. And so tough love is true love, when we are able to get out of our box of perfection, of what society is saying, and just see that sometimes we really have to focus on what we're doing as a parent that's making them continue on the same cycle because they know they make it back to us. And sometimes it's time to put a roadblock and say, this is as far as I can go. And so this week, I just encourage you to pray, to have a conversation with your child in regards to this. I am having this conversation as I speak with you guys. I am believing this year for great things to happen. I can't wait to be an complete empty nester. I'm believing that God has a plan for my children and your children, that they will excel, that they will do great things, but we will allow them the space to grow, to appreciate the journey, the sacrifices that they have to make. Because in the end, when I think about my kids and success, I'm thinking, if I die tomorrow, will they make it? Not with my life insurance, not with anything that I leave them materialistically. Will they make it in regards to the decisions that they make? Will they make it in regards to how they think about money, how they handle problems? Do they go to the right people to find resolution? And those are the things that weigh the greatest in my heart at this point in time. It's not the crap that you can buy them, is how whole are they to a degree, because I believe that we are all working on wholeness on a regular basis till we die. But how are they prepared to handle real life issues for adulthood? When does it stop? When do we allow that time for them? And so this week, I just encourage you to pray for your children and tap into that. Talk to your friends, find a support group. I'm always thankful for people that speak life into me. Sometimes I'm harsh and I'm hard, and I have a friend that will say, kids will make mistakes. This is a stage, or this is what you should do or shouldn't do, and they partner with me to pray. And so I'm just thankful for that. And so next week, I want to talk a little bit about being an independent mom, an independent woman, the struggles and the sacrifices. Sometimes when I talk about money, or I talk to some women, you have a populace of women that are offended in regards to strong women. You have men that are offended in regards to strong women, independent women with money. And so I just think there's a populace of us, there's a group of women that I relate well with, and they are the hustlers. They are making things happen for themselves. And so I will discuss that a little bit next week, because a lot of times some of y'all take stuff for granted that some of us never had. So meet me at 0 next week. Be a blessing to someone. Love on your children and your grandchildren. We are here on borrowed time. Make a difference. And above all, we all have some purpose. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.